Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome to a Monday morning edition of the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK 98.9 FM, 1350 AM. You can find us on the web at 989WOYK. I am Gary Sutton. This is the Gary Sutton Show, starting out a brand new week. And you're only going to have me for 2 days. But you're going to have an array of talent in here this week. And Mark McKenzie is back after a foray to the Atlantic. And he is back in his seat this morning. You know, I remember the old days they used to talk about it, people want to know who's in the seat at 3 a.m. at the White House where there's a crisis going on. Mark is the 3 a.m. seat right here. But I got to tell you, Martin Tate did a great job last week in your stead.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know we got a guy. Yeah. So we're thinking about getting him to drop out of East Stroudsburg and just be on call for us all the time.
Yes.
I don't know if that'll happen, but I mean, I doubt. But,
hold your breath.
Yeah, his entire career, he should just wait.
The entire thing?
Thank you, yes. Anyway, all brought to you today by Kindness Worldwide. Find him at kindnessworldwide.org. Kevin Smith's going to be here this morning to talk about the Miss Pennsylvania pageant that took place in York here over the weekend, and we have a winner. And Kindness Worldwide was involved in that, in a big scholarship, and it's a great story behind it, and Kevin's going to relay that this morning. Also, Inside and Sparler, attorneys at law, and we'll have Andy in here today, Andy Harold, to talk about a point of law. That'll be at 7:52 this morning, all here on the Gary Sutton Show. So we got a great show planned for you today, and you can also check us out on the text line, at the Backline text line at 833-478-4729. That's 833-478-4729 with any comments you have on anything throughout the show. We'd love to hear from you. And as you listen to the show and something comes up, you say, hey, I want to communicate. That's the way you do it. And we'll find you and we'll get back to you throughout the course of the show. Sometimes we'll share some of those things with you. Sometimes we'll just answer them, okay? So that's the Back Nine. By the way, the Back Nine Golf, York's newest indoor golf installation right out there at 259A Pauline Drive, next to South York Plaza, next to the Giant, where golf never sleeps. No, golf never, ever sleeps. And you can find out about summer memberships. Today is the first day of summer, right? Summer memberships and tournaments they have and all kinds of opportunities. It's a great indoor golf installation. And on days where it's going to rain, like maybe this afternoon, great place to be inside and practice your golf. Yeah. So all of that here today on the Gary Sutton Show. Don't forget, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. Today's question, I was reading an interesting piece this morning where it said they did this survey on the web, so you know it must be true. Anyway, they did this survey and they asked some question where they said, how many of you are meal people and how many of you are snack people? As though the two can't coexist, Mark.
Really?
But yeah, so it said, well, 21% of us are meal people, so they took that to mean that 79% of us in this country are snack people. Okay, so the question is, what is the snack you cannot do without? And I did a little video there this morning. I even snacked on my snack and bacon as I did that. There you go. So what is the snack you cannot do without? A little lighter question today. Some of you are going to say, Gary, you didn't ask about world peace today. Well, we'll get by it, okay? It's summer. Come on. What's a snack that you can't do without? So there you have it. By the way, I was a little sad yesterday. I was driving out Route 30, Mark, and the Hardee's that has sat there since I was a kid on the corner of George 30. Street and Route 30 is closed.
No, really?
It's closed. Wow. It's the first time I ever remember it being closed. It was always there. It took us in when we were sick. It was always there, ready to help us. Speaking about snacks, man, there you go. Or a great lunch. Some of the great burgers of all time. The Hardee's out in West Market is still open. I think it's the only one here in York that is. But that Hardee's is now gone. So a little piece of York-a-Kana is gone.
Mm-hmm. Does it bring back memories?
It did.
What was your favorite order there?
You're going to laugh at me. The chili dog. I loved the chili dog. They had a great chili dog. Now, in recent years, they got rid of it in recent years, but they used to have a great chili dog. But they went to the big burger thing a few years ago. And they had, I remember Hardee's, when everybody else was trying to lose weight and stuff, Hardee's went to a big burger thing, a big promotion where they said, eat like you mean it. And I thought, that's America. Yeah, there you go. Eat like you mean it, right? Get it, Mark shaking his head.
It's true.
With that, we welcome back Mark McKenzie this morning here on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, Mark. Welcome back.
Good morning. I am well rested, and I totally forgot that you were not going to be here the end of the week. So now I can start worrying.
Yeah, now you can start worrying. You're back already, and already the worry. So you couldn't just let it go a few more minutes.
One more day.
Couldn't let it go another segment, could you? But anyway, what do we have this morning?
Well, it is Stupid Guy Thing Day. And this
Or
is,
as we like to call it here, Monday.
I had to look it up.
Yeah.
It says highlighting the funny side of everyday slip-ups that almost everyone can relate to.
For example.
It didn't give one.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, like forgetting an anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't want to do that.
Stupid guy thing.
Yeah, that's like, can be terminal sometimes. I mean, if you do that.
Depending on.
I forgot my wife's birthday one time, and I was sitting at the table. We were having a birthday dinner.
Well, you're still here.
And I'm still here. But my wife's very understanding. Yeah.
Other days today, it is the first full day of summer.
Yes, it is.
National Energy Shopping Day. Now, who doesn't want to, shop?
Get the best energy price.
You were talking about snacks. You
Sure.
walk down the snack aisle, but really shopping for energy prices and comparing.
I could see you walking down a snack aisle, by the way. I would give money to do that with you, just to have you in Mackenzian fashion analyze the snacks.
Yeah, see, you when you say
there would be
that,
a prioritizing.
There would be. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, well, wait a second. Like bacon. Bacon's not a snack. It is. It is a breakfast food, but it also can be a dinner food.
Well, at Dunkin' this morning, they have what they call snack and bacon. No, is that right there? I mean, so
And
that's
what
what
is
I
it?
snack. It's these little packages of bacon that you can snack on. It has black pepper on the edges.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm telling you what.
Sounds good.
It's really good.
I've had bacon today won't be the first day in a while that I haven't had bacon.
Oh.
It was vacation. National HVAC Tech Day. So
What?
if your air conditioning goes out, you're going to want to see those guys.
Yep.
Or ladies.
And hope
check
they're
that
really
out.
good.
And I'm surprised that Scamp isn't here today or any of your other Tuxedo Cat, because it is Take
Lily.
Your Cat to Work Day.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. No, I'm not going to bring my cat to work day.
Thank you.
And anybody that does is a sick person. I'm sorry. You can't do that.
I'm allergic.
Cats don't go to work. Now, I mean, cats
Right.
understand. Cats are so regimented to a routine. They don't understand when you're. They just don't.
It's not like a dog.
No. You can bring your dog to work. Well, we have people over here.
Oh,
at
yes.
the Revs. I mean, I don't know
Ticket
how.
office.
There's 5 or 6 people bring dogs to work
Yes.
daily, and they're all right there. I got to know them all, like Potato over there, who I meet every morning.
They all bark at me.
But they do. Yeah. There's-
Anyway, food holidays, National Onion Rings Day.
I know. You know what's interesting about that is it's also National Kissing Day. It doesn't seem like the two go together.
That's right.
But, for some reason you think when you eat onion rings that your breath doesn't smell like onions, as opposed to you've just eaten an onion. Got news for you. It still smells like onions.
It
Okay?
does.
Yeah, it does.
And one of your favorites, I think.
Go ahead.
National Chocolate Eclair Day.
Oh, I tell you what.
What was the place in Baltimore that made the huge eclairs?
Yeah. Now, do you like them with the soft kind of outer thing, or you got to have kind of like the little bit of the harder outer shell of
Yes,
it, don't you?
I
To
agree.
have a true eclair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat them that often. They're not a huge favorite of mine, especially. I just went to on Saturday, as we were leaving our vacation spot. They were telling me that hey, this place, it's called, what was it called? Shore Break.
Okay.
Shore Break.
Yeah.
And they said it was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Like, what? So I went inside.
Guy Fieri
And
was here.
Apparently.
Yes.
And, that was the story I heard. I've watched that show, and I don't think I've ever seen that.
We can go with that. Nobody can double check us.
And they had the things that they had in the window, baked goods.
Oh.
They had this huge blueberry scone, had almost no blueberries in it, but it looked good.
Yeah.
I did buy it and ate it.
Okay,
And
you did.
There was a donut that had It wasn't stuffed with like cream or whipping cream, that kind of thing. It was stuffed with chantilly, which is a sweet kind of whipped cream. That's kind of what it looks like.
Sort of pinkish.
Oh my goodness. It was unbelievable. I wish I could have another one of those. And also a huge cough brick of crumb cake.
Oh
my Lord.
And you had all those displays?
I bought them all. Not at all at one time.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Anyway, moving on. Today's just a fascinating day, June 22nd. And I'm going to run through these because it's, this day is important in the history.
Full of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like on this date, I had never heard this. You've heard of Henry Hudson, right?
I have.
That's what Hudson River.
Right.
And New York and all that.
The car.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was on this date, 1611, when Henry Hudson, his son, and 7 others were set adrift in Hudson Bay by mutineers on his ship Discovery, and they were never seen again.
Nope.
Think about that. It was like, what?
Was this ship called the Half Moon or something like that? There was some
Discovery.
I don't know why that the Discovery guy. Yeah.
On this date,
they were set adrift and never seen again.
I mean, you would think these famed explorers, had a rep, but in 1633, Galileo recants his position, what the church thought was heretical at the time.
Right.
That Earth orbited the sun. It was at odds with the Bible and church teachings. The Vatican, by the way, did end up apologizing for how it handled the whole case about 300 years later.
Yeah, it was kind of like, listen, maybe you ought to recant on this or we're going to kill you. Yeah. And you go, okay. I don't feel that strongly about it. His full name was Galileo Galilei.
Yes.
Yes, that was his whole name.
On this date, 1815, Waterloo, Napoleon Bonaparte had lost at Waterloo, so he, on this date, abdicated again. I mean, how many people abdicate twice?
Well, and, Waterloo became kind of the standard thing. Whenever you had a loss, it became your Waterloo.
Yes.
And that became part of our lexicon.
Ultimate defeat.
Yeah. Thank you, yes.
1865, on this date, the last shot of the American Civil War took place.
Okay.
And
that's a big day.
Yes, but I've never heard of this. It was the Confederate steamship Shenandoah. It fired the shot to indicate that it was surrendering. And where did this happen? In the Bering Strait.
Jiminy Christmas.
Really? Up near Alaska? On this date.
How many people up there were saying, hey, the Civil War really, it's got to end?
Yeah, who?
And never people up in the Bering Strait going, what? What Civil War?
Probably just hearing about the beginning.
I was going to say the news had just gotten there. Oh, you have a Civil War going on? Really?
John Dillinger was informally named America's public enemy #1 on this date in 1933. Princess and future Queen Elizabeth II meets Prince Philip of Greece.
Wow.
And, of course, they went on to get married.
Yes.
The first Dairy Queen opened up in Joliet, Illinois on this date.
There you go.
Maybe one of the biggest mistakes, ever. On this date, 1941, Operation Barbarossa. Talk about
when Germany decided to attack and have a two-front war.
Let's have a two-front war.
Yeah, and Operation Barbarossa having to do with Russia, and then everybody. I was watching The Great Escape last night. If you did wrong, if you were a German soldier and you screwed up during that time, they'd send you to the Russian front.
Yes, the Eastern front.
The Eastern front and the Russian front. And there we go. Yeah. And Hogan's Heroes. If anybody ever watched the replays of that, going to the Russian front. I know nothing. Yeah. Thank you.
On this date, 1944, President Roosevelt signs the GI Bill.
Right.
Which millions of Americans used to get a better education.
And what did GI stand for?
General issue.
Government issue, yeah. Government issue, yeah.
1955 of this date, Lady and the Tramp released.
Yeah.
When they did the spaghetti at the end.
Yes, I actually saw it on the original film, I hate to say, but yeah, I did.
No kidding.
Yeah, I did.
I was just...
It was pretty good.
I know. On this date, 1963, Little Stevie Wonder released his first hit. Out of all the hits he's had, this was the first one, and it was fingertips. Remember, it was a live record. He was playing the harmonica. On this date, 1970, just a couple more. Nixon signs an extension of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And here's the thing. It required the voting age to be at 18. So he lowered the voting age to 18.
Yeah, from 21.
On this date, 1981, who doesn't know this phrase? You cannot be serious.
Exactly.
John McEnroe utters that famous rant at Wimbledon.
Several times.
Yes. On this date, 82, Charles and Diana, they have a son.
Yes.
Prince William. On this date, their first son. On this date, 1990, Adam Sandler becomes a new cast member of Saturday Night Live.
And look at the career he had after that.
Really?
So,
and you can't stop it.
All those grade A movies.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Lord.
And finally, on this date, 1992, two skeletons were excavated in Russia, and they were able to identify them as...
Lenin and Stalin? No.
That too, probably.
Right.
But Tsar Nicholas II and the Tsarina Alexandra. So they obviously were killed. They didn't never
They had their whole family. Yeah.
Yes, but they didn't. No one had ever found them, and now they had been found, and the rest is history.
I think they found all the other bones then too,
Yeah, I think
with
so,
the rest
too.
of the family in the long run.
Yeah.
But there you go. Lots of stuff going on
it's
today.
amazing.
It's incredible. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got a lot more coming your way this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Straight ahead. It's a Monday morning on WOYK.
1-2. He winds. He fires. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Fastball. Paolini strikes out for the second time today. And Costa continues to cook. 2 down here in the 6th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Julian Reddy kicks, fires. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Went back to the curve this time. Down and away to get the K. And 2 down here in the 7th. Blackwell 0 for 3 with a walk, a steal, a run. Pitch, he swings, hits this one in the air in right. It'll send Wilson back. He can't get to it, and it's off the base of the wall. And 2 runs are going to score. Blackwell into second, a 2-run double off the base of the wall in right. And the Revs keep pouring it on here in the 7th inning. It's 11-0. Rapp stretches, and he fires. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Breaking ball finishes it. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Revs blow out the Blue Crabs 11-1 the final.
And the Revs now 29-24 as Julian Costa, a rookie left-hander, came out yesterday and pitched 6.2 scoreless innings in his pro debut as the Revs beat Southern Maryland. Really good team, by the way. 11-1 on Father's Day, on a wonderful Father's Day afternoon. And, Costa allowed just 2 hits, walked only 2 batters while striking out 4 mark. He signed after a standout career at Westchester University. The 23-year-old retired 12 straight, carrying a 1-hit shutout into the 7th on just an infield hit. He was lifted to an ovation from the home crowd following his only outfield hit, surrendered a 2-out single to Danny Bautista Jr. in the 7th. Ryan Shreve entered and struck out Ethan Wilson to preserve the shutout bid. And then the Revs just jumped on it with just a great hitting exhibition yesterday afternoon. 11-1, the Revs win 29-24. I think they're 4 behind right now, Lancaster, here in the first half. So still some work to do. Next up, right-handed pitcher Rek Kuba, 3-2. Starts Tuesday's opener in Charleston at 6:35. Revs fan can catch the live action on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 AM WOYK at 989WOYK.com, the Revolution app, and the Home Team Network / Dugout TV beginning at 6:15 tomorrow night with Daryl. So there you go. The Revs successful on Father's Day. By the way, my question today, the most common snacks that really get you, if you consider yourself a snacker, and apparently 79% of people in the country do, or a meal person, 21% do that. There was a survey of 5,000 Americans taken, and only 21% think they are a meal person, which means 79% of us, by exclusion, are snackers. Now, I'm not sure how true that is, but let's just say for a moment that it is. Here are some of the biggest snacking confessions that we learned. 53% of us have no shame in eating an entire bag of chips in one sitting. Of course not, especially if it's a small bag, right? 39% of us have gone entire days without a real meal, just eating snacks. 18% of us have lied about what we're snacking on so we don't get judged. Don't judge me!
That's right.
On average, people snack 4 times per day, and 60% of us have a secret snack stash inside our house. And 6% of us have a snack stash that we've hidden outside of our home. If that's the case,
wow,
you may have a problem.
Yeah,
you may have a problem
easily.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a snack stash outside of your home, if you have like a locker at the airport or the bus station or something like that, or wherever it might be, you need help. Now, here are the top 5 lies though we tell ourselves before we snack.
Okay,
we do this. I'll only eat just one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll only eat just one. Sure you will.
Mm-hmm.
Since these are whole grain, I'm not cheating on my diet. The whole grain Doritos. I'm not cheating on my diet. Fruit roll-ups are categorized as fruit. Probably not. After I finish this bag, I'll never buy these at the grocery again.
There you go.
Sure you won't. Guacamole dip automatically makes these healthy, right? Okay. I'll make up for this by skipping dinner. Mm-hmm. Sure. Not finishing this would be disrespectful of starving kids. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Just got done watching someone on TV Haji's in the
Yes.
mud pit, and you
Yes.
go like, okay, I got to do this for him.
Terrible.
I do. And finally, I'll never get this high again. No, no. Wrong snack. Wrong snack.
Couple of texts.
Go ahead.
Al writes that there's also a Hardee's in Spring Grove.
Yeah, there is.
And he
That's right.
says
Thank you, Al.
the chain is not Husky any longer.
Not Husky?
Not Husky. I don't know if that had
I'm not
referenced your big burger story.
Oh.
About how they went big burgers.
I noticed now at the one Hardee's, I bought something this weekend over at Hardee's out on West Market. And you can order one burger or two burgers now. When did that choice come up? I don't even, that's new to me. But I only order one. I can't eat two. And I can't even eat the whole one for that matter.
And Rich reminds me
Okay.
that bacon fits into every food group.
Thank you, Rich.
And every food category. It is absolutely a snack as well.
Right there on our back nine text line this morning.
I just don't think that people make bacon as a snack. Not that some don't, but I don't think most people
Kind of waved the red flag in front of the bull there, didn't you? Huh?
Well,
See what happens?
And I do understand because we had like a communal breakfast last week.
Okay.
I think it was Wednesday or Thursday.
Gotcha.
And a huge amount of bacon was cooked. And so there was a lot left. So when we were cleaning out the fridge on Saturday, does anybody want this bacon? And of course I said, well, I think I will take it.
I could help.
Yes. And
You're doing your part. You're being
Yes.
unselfish. Yeah.
And I used it over a couple of days as a snack, as a sandwich.
Did you stash it in a secret place?
No,
Like the
wait,
snacks?
I didn't go that far.
Okay.
But anyway, Rich, I appreciate it.
What's that box you have there, Mark? No. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Monday morning. Welcome back, Mark. All here on WOYK. And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Little Bobby Brown coming back here, right?
I always like, this is back right as my DJ days were ending.
Yeah.
I always like this song.
It's a good song. Yeah, really good song. And, yesterday was Father's Day, as we well know, and there was a report over the weekend, people trying to find a good Father's Day gift. And finding a Father's Day gift can be a lot harder than a Mother's Day gift, really. I mean, but dads, whatever you got, even if it was just a phone call.
Flowers don't work.
Or nothing at all, is probably better than this. This gift probably is not what you want to have. A news report over the weekend weighed the potential risks and rewards of gifting DNA test kits for Father's Day. A DNA test kit is not necessarily a paternity test, but if your dad isn't expecting it, it does have Maury Povich vibes. The potential rewards are, it could seem like a unique and fun gift idea. One of those things someone might like, but wouldn't buy for themselves. And exploring family history can be fun and inspiring, but there are a lot of downsides, like uncovering secrets that are sad and unsettling, such as misattributed paternity.
Right.
And once they're known, they cannot be unknown. There are also legitimate concerns about data security. So should DNA kits be given as gifts? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. Probably cause more problems than they do have rewards. So if you're thinking, hey, that's unique, don't do it. Okay, it's just not. It's not gonna work well. Mark.
Well, let's talk about the box office.
Yes.
For the weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Check it out.
Moviegoers are still turning out for Toy Story.
Tech's invaded our house too.
I don't know, Jesse. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
The fifth installment of Disney and Pixar's Toy Story with the biggest opening of the year so far, earning $160 million at the domestic box office. Internationally, it pulled in $152 million for a global start of $312 million. Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day slipped to second place with $17 million in its second weekend. Obsession comes in third with $14.2 million in its sixth weekend. Kathleen Maloney, Fox News.
So my vacation actually started with Disclosure Day. I remember telling you how
was it? Did it meet your expectations?
No, it did not.
Okay.
It was okay, probably the first 2/3 of the movie, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, but when it gets to the big payoff, because you keep wondering, all right, well, where's this all leading? Because he did a great job of he's the best at that, where he's building the anticipation, and he just gives you little bits of pieces of information, and he does it visually and audio and it just a little bit at a time, but it builds steadily. So you're waiting, like, okay, all right, let's go. And then when it got to the ultimate conclusion, if you will, I found it unsatisfying. So
you did.
It's all right.
I saw Toy Story 5 grossed $160 million domestically over the weekend.
That was that's a crafted. We're talking 5 in a row. They have a lot to live up to.
Well, it's the second largest domestic opening weekend for any animated movie of all time. Now, the record for the biggest animated opening weekend ever is still held by a different Pixar sequel, 2018's The Incredibles 2, with $182.7 million. I never saw Incredibles 1. So.
Well, how many animated movies have you seen?
I haven't seen, I've seen a few, but I haven't seen anything recently. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Toy Story 5 had the biggest opening of the franchise to date, surpassing Toy Story 4, which launched with $120 million in 2019, if you cared. There you go. So, I'm probably not going to go see it. I don't really have a need for it. But I guess it's current in the sense that it confronts like AI, right, to some degree. Is that kind of the deal?
I don't know enough about it. I just know that the movies are definitely funny. There are aspects to it that are funny, but I don't want to cry in a movie theater.
No, I
don't want to cry in a movie. I don't want to feel sad about the toys being left behind, and Timmy growing up or whatever the kid's name is, and I guess then probably on to the grandson by now. And, I don't want to do that.
I was watching Wyndham Clark win the U.S. Open yesterday.
Yes.
And I was really intrigued. Some people got thrown out for cheering against him. He was playing with Scotty Scheffler, whose birthday it was yesterday.
Yes.
And, of course, Scotty Scheffler, one of the more
old.
popular golfers in the world, number one in the world. But Clark won this going from start to finish. But, they were booing, all but booing. A couple of fans got tossed for unsportsmanlike behavior. And at the end yesterday, they asked him the question after he won.
Yes.
And he said, they said, he said, New York didn't really like me. He said, I love you guys. And people kind of clapped for him then and so forth. He said, but I get it. And he said, some of it is self-deserved. I did some unfortunate things last year that I really regret. And I've said sorry multiple times, but I'm still sorry. So hopefully I can win you guys over eventually. Last year, he destroyed a locker after missing the cut at Oakmont. And, I mean, it was a scandal. And he, got raked over the coals for it. And Clark said, I understand why people would root for Scotty Scheffler. He said he's the best player on the planet. He said, but he said, right now it's my day. And, so,
right.
So I thought he handled it really well. The clearest incident happened a year ago at the same championship. He missed the cut by a single shot and then took his anger out in the locker room.
Right.
The club banned him.
And he had won the previous year.
Oh, yeah. And the club banned him. To be reinstated, he had to pay for the damage, make a charitable contribution, and complete anger management, which he did. He apologized in public, and he has kept apologizing since. And he had a few tantrums before that as well at like Quail Hollow back in 2025. Right. He threw his driver after a bad shot.
Right.
But
see, there he's been described as a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
And it's mainly connected to his
temper.
Yes. Yeah. And when he misses a shot or he really tends to, do the kind of things that maybe I would do. No.
But he has since kind of tried to turn it around. And but the people are piling on
well,
Sunday.
Can they? I mean, where do you think, at some point he's tried to, and I mean, DeChambeau sort of did not some of the same things.
Now he became kind of a fan favorite.
Yes, he tried to overcome with kindness and shaking hands and, doing all the things on social media. Maybe they needed
Kevin Smith out there with him, walking along. And, Kevin could have helped out with the kindness thing.
I did see that though, and I was surprised that they asked him about it, but he was very forthcoming, but he was saying, I guess even before that he didn't feel anybody there wanted him to win.
Well, and he said, someday hopefully I can win you to my side and then win you back. And he said, but I thought, for a guy to stand there and say, I did some unfortunate things last year, I kind of screwed up. I like that humbleness. Amidst a victory, the guy, and I tell you what, the guy played his heart out yesterday. I mean, he made some big putts and he had a 52-footer at the end. He's standing on a 52-foot putt. He's got a putt down in two, and he knocks it like an inch away from the hole. Which, I mean, I thought the guy really, he's got some serious game, and that course could drive you nuts. Up at
there were
Shinnecock.
I think there were only
three people under par.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, which is kind of what I thought would happen, but it was, but I thought it was really neat that, he said that afterward, and it was a nice, humbling moment.
It is an opportunity, though, and maybe, you know what, New York is not the place to get forgiveness.
No.
If you remember, I was at the Ryder Cup.
Oh, yeah, you say it's a tough place to play.
It was unbelievable. And I mean, people were ornery because of the weather as well, but New York has an edge to it, and if you can't take that edge, the fans are going to be rough.
So the fact that this guy could win a tournament on the toughest course that they play all year probably, with howling people against him, winds, dry weather, baked out greens. I mean, you're the true U.S. Open champion.
And he mentioned that. He said, every time I heard something negative, he said, I replaced it in my head with something positive. And he said, then I took it as a challenge to hit the next shot.
So the anger management has helped, right? There
I
you
guess
go.
so. I guess so. So when are the fans going to follow suit and, admit, hey, maybe he's turned a leaf?
By the way, I saw where they're trying to get rid of carriage rides. There was a lady, apparently,
In New York?
an 18-year-old visitor from India who died after jumping from a runaway carriage when the horse bolted while the driver was out of the vehicle. Now, the horse later collided with another carriage, causing the passengers to tumble to the ground. Now, the Transport Workers Union, Local 100, voluntarily halted all passenger rides to conduct internal reviews and safety protocol updates. But and listen, it's terrible that this person was killed. I'm not making light of this. But it's been 150 years of carriage rides. And how many ever successful carriage rides there have been and won is a pretty good record. I'm just saying. I understand horses can run away. I understand maybe you had a driver who stepped away for a second and the horse bolted. I get it. But now I saw Zoran Mandani, the mayor of New York, wants to ban the rides, and there's other people want to ban it. Hang on. 150 years of successful rides. I don't know how many there are a day. And one death. I'm going to take my shot with that. I really am. I'm going to think, okay, and again, not again to minimize the death of one person because that's important. But I'd still say it's pretty safe. And the fact they want to outlaw it now, that's part and parcel of what's wrong with our country right now. A little risk reward, thank you. Go out there and ride the carriage and have a little fun. And we're going to wipe that out because there was one unfortunate incident. And, again, not minimizing it. Don't say, you don't care about people. No, it's none of that. I'm looking at the numbers. If I'm a coach, I'll take the odds. I will. So just a thought. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more coming your way here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
right, so right now the song is supposed to be playing, but I noticed that this thing has an annoying habit of...
Welcome back, Mark.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it has an annoying habit.
Great to have you
and
back.
Here I am. All right, it took a while, but it finally
I
played
hated
through.
this song.
Did you?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Remember, she had...
Oh,
Well, if you remember, we talked about, was it last year or maybe, was it last year when she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall
yeah,
of Fame?
and
And I'm like, what?
and
Cyndi Lauper?
yeah.
I mean, she had a handful of hits. I mean, it's not a super long career. She had a couple of good years, and then this is the most. It is an annoying song.
It's very annoying, and,
Yes.
and she was annoying, frankly, in some ways. And
now,
now, then
she's a Hall of
what's the
Famer.
commercial? She's on there all the time about the
yes, some sort of drug.
yeah, you have like this stuff on your skin and
Yes.
and all that. And
She is 73 today.
leprosy or something like
Oh,
that.
stop
Yeah,
it.
whatever it was. Yeah. So it was. By the way, back to New York. Back to New York for a second. I'm a little upset about this whole.
We have
you know,
other birthdays, but go ahead.
I'm sorry. We're
No,
going to
go.
wipe out. We're going to wipe out carriage rides because
Yes.
one person in 150 years
Yes.
got killed. One person.
Yes.
150 and one. If you just took like one carriage ride a day for 150 years, 150 and one would not be a bad record. But you figured there's a lot of carriage rides. It's probably in the thousands and one. And you're going like, and so now we're going to wipe out carriage rides. So here we go. Apparently a man fell to his death during a rock concert at Madison Square Garden
Yes,
over the weekend,
yeah.
according to the New York City Police Department. Just before 10 p.m., June 20th, officers with the NYPD responded to a 911 call for an injured person at the iconic stadium in Midtown Manhattan. When they arrived, they found a 51-year-old man who was unconscious and unresponsive. The department added that the man had suffered injuries indicative of a fall from an elevated position. In other words, he jumped from or fell from someplace high up. The man who has not been identified was transported to Bellevue Hospital, where he was pronounced dead, according to authorities. Again, not minimizing death. The investigation is ongoing, but the guy apparently was at a concert and apparently fell over the railing or jumped over the railing. Now, I wonder if drugs or alcohol were involved, but no, we don't know yet.
Too early yet.
Yeah, but it was, So Madison Square Garden, of course, the site of the Knicks finals.
So you want to
Travis
ban
Kelce, and so we're going to
everything?
ban Madison Square Garden any events from here on out because one person fell over, or maybe we need to ban all concerts in New
about-
York City, or ban whatever. But again, listen, Darwin was right. Sometimes there is a thinning of the herd. And there's a survival of the fittest. And you go to a place, if you're in a really high seat and you say, if I fall off this and down a few places, I'm probably not going to make it. I'm just saying. I don't mean to sound cold. I just get crazy because I'm waiting for someone to go, now, oh, man, we can't have any more events at Madison Square Garden because this guy fell out of the balcony. And I don't know.
I don't know. Remember the shoe bomber? Then we all had to take our shoes off.
We had to take our shoes off, right?
Yeah,
because
so- because of one
Richard
person.
Ray or whatever his name was running around with matches sticking out of the ends of his shoes like a Ronald McDonald thing. So I don't know.
Let's get back.
I'm just saying.
Let's. You feel better now?
I do. Yeah, I actually do.
great.
Yeah. Back to some birthdays.
Back to birthdays. Speaking of commercials, you mentioned
yes.
Cyndi Lauper in a commercial.
Right.
This guy is also in a lot of commercials with his on-screen acting partner. And they're in the, I want to say the Verizon commercials. Donald Faison, I don't know if you know who he is.
I know who he is.
And their TV series Scrubs is back. So Donald is 52 today. Carson Daly.
Those two guys, by the way, are very annoying in that commercial, too. I just want to say the one guy was on Remember the Titans. He was good.
But they're just like that on Scrubs.
Oh, they're so annoying.
Yes,
They're just so annoying.
Carson Daly, who used to be this like kind of hunky guy back in the day on MTV,
Right.
And these days not so much. He's on the Today Show. I think he's also hosting a game show. He's 53 today.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner. Great story. Guy tried, didn't give up, and ended up becoming NFL Hall of Fame quarterback. Kurt Warner, 55 today. Dan Brown. He's written lots of books. You're a reader. I don't know if you read any Dan Brown.
I can't say that I have.
Yeah, he's written a lot of them. I don't have a list handy, but he's 62 today. Erin Brockovich, who's
Right.
now married, has the last name Ellis. She is 66. Bruce Campbell, the actor, he was in Evil Dead, kind of a cult thing. He's 68.
Right.
Lindsay Wagner is 77. Remember her, the original?
Yes.
Is she the original
Wonder Woman or whatever?
Bionic Woman.
Bionic Woman.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And the last, save the best for last, Meryl Streep, 77 today as well.
There you go. The whole Prada thing out there.
Yeah, it's great. She was terrific in it. She could do pretty much anything: dramatic comedy, romantic comedy. She was in.
She's very good.
The
Madison,
ABBA.
what the bridges of Madison County or whatever, and all that stuff. And
She was
very good.
She was also in what's the ABBA
That stupid ABBA movie. Ugh.
Mamma Mia.
Oh my Lord!
I gave you an opportunity to sing it.
Yes, no. Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia.
No?
No. By the way, the 163rd Battle of Gettysburg Civil War reenactment takes place July 3rd through 5th. The main events include daily battle reenactments and living history demonstrations. It's going to be held at the historic Daniel Lady Farm, which is at 1008 Hanover Road, Gettysburg. The gates open at 8:30 a.m. with a different battle featured every day. The tickets general admission is $97.50 for adults, $39.75 for children for the whole 3-day weekend. Tickets that include bleacher seating range from $118.50 to $176. That's $118.50 for a child to $176.25 for an adult. That's for the weekend. Free parking is available directly across the road from the farm. For the full daily program, check out the Daniel Lady Farm events page or purchase passes directly via ETIX,
Interesting.
ETIX. As that's coming up the 3rd to the 5th at Daniel Lady Farm. Reenactments every day of the various battles of the Gettysburg battle. Yeah, sorry.
So Ernest Hemingway, everybody knows about him,
Sure.
the writer and all that. But did you know that in 1938 he set a world record for fishing?
I did not know that.
Now, didn't he write Old Man and Sea?
I believe he did, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
So he knows a little bit something about fishing. But the record that he set, this is kind of strange. I mean, apparently in one day he caught 7 marlins.
And they were this big. Yeah. Which grew every time he told the story.
I don't know. I mean, a marlin's not an easy fish to
No,
bring
it's
in.
not. No, it's not.
Anyway.
I'll tell you what else. Kevin Smith coming up next, the Chief Kindness Officer for Kindness Worldwide, or Kindness Chaser for Kindness Worldwide, about Miss Pennsylvania. And also at 7:35, Russ Stoner, who was just replaced at York High as the head football coach, will tell us his side of the story. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK. And so glad you could be with us here to start a brand new week. It's a Monday. It is June the 22nd, 2026, first really official day of summer. And I am Gary Sutton. Mark McKenzie back in his accustomed place here at ensconced, if you will, at the copper microphone that we have right here in our booth.
Isn't a sconce something hanging on the wall?
Ensconced. It means you're high up. You're sitting there. You're perched above the fray, so to speak. All brought to you by Anstein and Sparler, attorneys at law at 117 East Market Street right here in York. For all of your legal needs, they are ready to help you. You can give them a call today at 717-846-8811 and kindnessworldwide.org. Be the good, see the good, go the extra mile. It's almost part of my lexicon now. Kevin Smith, of course, the chief kindness chaser there, and he got that all started back 3 years ago when his wallet got returned, and he's been losing it ever since. But Kevin here this morning with us on the Gary Sutton Show, where it's 7:05. And Kevin, busy over the weekend. We're up to, 15 awards now for such a time as this, the movie that was done last year by Elgin and Kevin, and it's really drawing a lot of people to the movie theaters and to various showings around the country. Kevin, good morning. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, Gary. It's always wonderful to start the week with some kindness right here in studio. And, to your point, it was a wonderful weekend for many reasons. The film received 4 more laurels, semifinalists in 4 different film festivals, international film festivals in Detroit, in Denver, San Diego, and the real big one that I just became aware of yesterday was Tokyo Women's International Film Festival. So now formally in Asia, so word's getting out, the movement is spreading. It was a wonderful weekend and 15 laurels and counting as we speak.
How about that? I mean, congratulations. That's really a good testament to how good this film is and how inspiring it has been to people for various reasons all around the world now, not just here in the United States, but all around the world. You also had a chance to go to the Miss Pennsylvania pageant the other night, and you were very intricately involved in terms of a scholarship there. And there's a story with that, as there always seems to be, right? A story of kindness there.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to Stephanie Skinner, Miss Pennsylvania 2026. Was at the competition Saturday evening at the Appel Center, and towards the end of the evening, right after the evening gown competition, right before they announced Miss Pennsylvania, they presented their scholarship awards. And the last one was the first Kindness Worldwide Go the Extra Mile scholarship. And their criteria was the contestants would submit 3-minute videos to make this, or really to share their plan to bring the magic of Kindness Week worldwide to their communities. And the most inspirational video, the one we felt was the most likely to be implemented successfully, was chosen. And so they announced a little bit of background on the scholarship, a little bit of the story of Kindness Worldwide. They showed the conclusion, the brief conclusion of the film with Vittoria Vespico, who really closed up the film on an uplifting note. And then they surprised the winner with showing the 3-minute video. And Abby Traxler won the scholarship, and she was moved to tears. Her video, all the videos were wonderful, and they really were moving for many reasons, but I could tell the heart and soul she put into it. And I learned afterwards that there was a reason for that, because apparently she had been bullied when she was younger, severely. And her presentation was all about kindness and included all the elements. I mean, a buddy bench, kindness citations, a 2.6-mile fun walk and run at Penn State University, engaging high schools and key clubs, blood drives. And so it had all the elements, all the themes of the 8 characteristics of kindness. And I was just very moved by the video, but also very moved that it moved her her in such a way that it did. So it was a wonderful evening.
You know, this idea of bullying, it's not quite the same as it was when we were kids. When we were kids, we didn't have social media to bully us and go home with us and all that. And a lot of times bullying took place. I went to school. My dad was a principal, so you can imagine the fun I had. Because my brother and sister decided not to go to school there after I went to school because of a lot of things I had gone through. But I look back, it wasn't that bad. I mean, but I got beat up a few times. I also. I acquitted myself on a few occasions, but I probably was 50-50 on fights. But, people would say, well, your dad this, your dad that. And so I think back to that. But the bullying since then with the social media is a much different and much more insidious kind of thing. And it goes home with you and it invades your life. And I can see where this is one of those things. When I was a boy, it probably was better than it is now. What are your thoughts on that, Kev?
Well, bullying is a very serious issue, and I agree. It is much worse now with social media. Used to be, if you're bullied in school, you can get away from it. You escape it when you come home. Now, there's no escaping it. Social media, the bullying that occurs online is very serious. There's a reason, among many, that the suicide rate among our youth is at all-time high, and it truly is an epidemic. And there's all this talk about anti-bullying and anti-bullying. I think we need to change the narrative. One of the initiatives of Kindness Worldwide is a campaign we call Cool to Be Kind. And we want to change the narrative from anti-bullying to pro-kindness, because if we're proactive about addressing what goes into bullying and why do people bullying, many bully because they're dealing with their own traumas and they're projecting them in an unhealthy way and belittling others to elevate themselves. But we've got to address the root of the problem. It's a serious issue. But pro-kindness and making it hip, fashionable, trendy, and cool to be kind, sending that message to our youth, I think, is a very powerful message. And we're looking to really focus a lot of time and energy on that in the months and years ahead.
This brings me to the U.S. Open. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch it yesterday, but Wyndham Clark winning the U.S. Open start to finish, led right from the very beginning, had a 6-shot lead going yesterday, ended up winning by 1, had to 2-putt from 52 feet in the last hole. But throughout the round yesterday, I didn't notice it on Saturday as much, but yesterday I did. And he was playing with Scottie Scheffler, whose birthday was yesterday. Scottie Scheffler, #1 player in the world, very popular among fans. But people were cheering when bad things happened to Wyndham Clark. Ball would roll off the green, down an embankment. He would miss a putt. He would, and people were cheering. Now, Wyndham Clark last year beat up a locker at Oakmont after missing the U.S. Open cut by 1 after winning the year before in Los Angeles, and was just a jerk and had some history of being kind of a jerk in situations like that and going off and doing things. But he took anger management classes. He apologized. He replaced the locker. He gave a donation. He's done a lot of things to atone for that over the course of this past year. And yet yesterday, some people were actually thrown out of the Open who were fans because of how they acted. Point, from a kindness perspective, this rooting against people or rooting against their fortunes, and as opposed to rooting for someone. I used to always, when I coached, I would tell parents, when we had parents' night before the season even started, I said, I want you rooting for our team. I never want to hear us rooting against somebody or booing somebody, because they're someone's sons too, or someone's daughters too. And I never, ever wanted to see someone booing or screaming things at someone. Your thought about that, the perspective from a kindness prism, so to speak.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Gary. I like the idea of rooting for someone, not rooting against someone, especially when you're doing it so vocally and so publicly. I think we all should have grace. We should win with grace, lose with dignity. And we should be respectful. I mean, respect is one of the characteristics of kindness. I think openly rooting against someone is disrespectful. And also feel that, I mean, you described, some of the history there and maybe why there's some unkindness in some of his behavior in the past, but we're all entitled to redemption. We're all entitled to forgiveness and other of the characteristics of kindness. I think in the interview that occurred afterwards, I think he handled it very, very well. He handled it with grace and class and dignity. He could have gone down one road.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He stayed on the high road.
I beat you all today, and there you go. And he didn't do that.
Not at all. And that showed humility and grace and class. And I think at the end of the day, kindness is class. And we should all just be more classy and root for, never against.
You know, when the fact that he said yesterday, he said, last year, I didn't do anything to help myself. I was a jerk. I, basically tore up a locker room. I understand why people are upset with me. I'm trying to win you back. Hopefully I can do that someday. But when we root against people, when we boo people, when we say awful things to people, when we're at a game and we say, well, my ticket gives me the right to say this. Well, it does, but you could also have a little self-discipline. But one of the things that jumped out at me was when we do that, when we tear away at someone else, it tears away at our humanity. It tears away at the goodness that I think we could have. Instead of just appreciating someone in a moment and cheering for someone in a moment, to cheer against somebody or to say horrible things, if you're betting, to get upset with somebody because they cost you money on a bet. And I've heard of that happening in college sports now. That's the least part of us, not the best part of us.
Agreed. Well, belittling anyone or bullying anyone for any reason or in any form, it shows a weakness of ourselves. And I think deep down, it's everyone, I think, individually needs to have self-worth, self-esteem, and sometimes they don't. They project that and in a way that diminishes others. That's a way of elevating themselves, especially when you get into crowds. And then you have that crowd mentality, that herd mentality kicks in, and the psychology of it all. But at the end of the day, we need to see each other for our shared humanity, and but also kindness to self. I think a lot of the unkindness that we see in the world is often people that don't have that self-respect, self-esteem, and they project that in unhealthy ways, and that gets into the deep psychology of it all. But I think ultimately everyone is dealing with something. Everyone has a story, and we should use empathy and compassion, more characteristics of kindness, and really try to be where someone else is, because everyone is dealing with something. Yeah. Even people we think we have it all, a professional athlete, a beauty queen, they're still dealing with something behind the scenes, and we should always look at others in our shared humanity with empathy and compassion.
Yeah, and when you're especially with kids, when you're at a game and there's kids involved, be an example. And I tell parents, I'd say, look at your son or daughter tonight while they're sleeping. Well, that parent sitting across the other bleacher is looking at their son and daughter tonight while they're sleeping and think they've got a pretty good package right there. Think about that. And when you root against them, you're rooting against yourself, because you should be a better example. That you should rise above that. Think about, and I want to ask you about that. We come back about modeling, because modeling for kindness would seem to me to be a really big thing. How do we do a better job modeling for kindness as parents and as adults in the community? We're going to ask Kevin Smith that question. He is the Chief Kindness Chaser for Kindness Worldwide. Also, if you go to kindnessworldwide.org, for such a time as this, as a film that is raking in awards and honorable mentions and mentions around the globe, and Kevin will be willing to come out and show your local group that film. Go in there and find Kevin's email at kindnessworldwide.org, and he will come to your community group or your neighborhood group or your church group, whatever it might be, civics group, and show you the film and have a discussion with you on kindness as we try to spread that word around the world, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Back with more right after this.
Sports Update. The FIFA World Cup.
4 matches today. The first 3 are on Fox TV, the last on FS1. First game kicks off 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 locally in Arlington, Texas. 2 teams who won their first games, Argentina and Austria, will meet on Fox TV. At 5 o'clock Eastern in Philadelphia, Kylian Mbappe, who scored twice in his World Cup opener last week, leads France against Iraq, whose coach, Graham Arnold, knows what his squad is up against.
I asked if we could play 3 goalkeepers, but they said no.
Iraq's coach, Graham Arnold, his team an underdog of between 2.5 and 3.5 goals against France. 8 Eastern tonight on Fox. From East Rutherford, New Jersey, Norway plays Senegal. 3 hours later on FS1, Jordan versus Algeria. Sunday, Cape Verde scored its second draw, 2-2 versus Uruguay. Iran and Belgium were scoreless. Spain blanked Saudi Arabia 4-0. Same score, Japan over Tunisia. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
You know, the one thing that's come out of that whole world soccer thing is these places like Cape Verde, who scored their first goal of the tournament, I guess, the other day against whoever it was. These little nothing countries can stand up to Spain and, you know, all these various groups. I think that's kind of a cool part about it. The only problem was, like Friday a week ago, you had 6 matches that all ended 0-0. First of all, we're in America, Jack. It's nothing. Okay, but this 0-0, these ties. I mean, these ties. You're playing for ties. Now, I guess in the second round you don't do that. You have the kickoffs and all that. But you know, these ties are like annoying. I mean, really. Yeah, and for some of them, I guess the tie for like Cape Verde against Spain feels like a win. But still, I mean, I get it and I don't get it. I watched the United States. I'm glad they're 2-0 so far, doing pretty well. But you know, we still have a long way to go. We're in the field of 32 here at the end, and you know, we'll see how all that works out. But yeah, I guess it's, you know, for soccer enthusiasts, I understand it. But there you go. Anyway, back with Kevin Smith, the Chief Kindness Chaser for Kindness Worldwide. Kevin, modeling. We talked about bullying. So important to get some good modeling done now by the adults in this community. And I worry sometimes as I look around, and there are a lot of people who do a great job with their kids, a lot of people who are doing a great job in community. You're a great example of that, of modeling what we should do. And yet I worry that there's a general lack of that in our community at large. My perception is that it's not what it should be, that the models that we follow now are not doing the lessons that we maybe had growing up, and we looked around and said, okay, there's someone you follow, there's someone you don't. Your thoughts on that?
I agree. Well, I think we all need to have greater self-awareness and be aware that someone is always watching, especially our children. And we all can lead by example. And so when we're out in the public eye or even in our homes, we need to be cognizant of the example we're setting for others, especially the youth, because they're always watching, they're always observant. And if we're at our best and we're leading by example, then that can encourage others to follow our lead. And we can control that. We often can point the finger at others and see many others at their worst, but that doesn't have to mean that we have to be at our worst. We can always rise above. And you know, our Cool to Be Kind campaign, for example, I see celebrities and others that kids look up to as role models. Many, I would argue, for the wrong reasons. They're looking at fame, they're looking at status, they're looking at being on TV. And you know, you can be a role model in those positions, but I think there are many who aren't the best in the public eye, and that doesn't send the right message for our children. But I think there are enough of those in the public domain that do lead by example, that are heart-centered, and they're the ones we ultimately want to engage in our Cool to Be Kind campaign. But all of us, every single one of us, can be a mentor, can be a role model. And if we're at our best, our children who represent the future, they'll be at their best too.
I was reminded over the weekend, I was invited to a picnic of former players of mine from 40 years ago when we won a state championship in Columbia High School in Columbia, Pennsylvania. And a number of the guys were at this picnic, and we were sitting around talking, and they were reminiscing on what it was like to play on a team that I coached during that time and so forth. And we talked, and I was talking about the idea, there were nights as a coach where I wasn't a very good role model. I didn't model well, that I left somebody with a negative thought that night. I couldn't wait to get back the next day to improve on that. But, modeling doesn't mean you're perfect. Modeling means that you're working toward that, but we're human beings. And, boy, I'll tell you what, when you're in the coaching world, even though everybody thinks you ought to be perfect every day and you never go into the cave, it gets tough. And that's one of the things that kind of stands out here. Pack the Park coming up August 20th. You are putting out a plea to people to pack the park for community, which has that word unity in there. And, get out here and do it. Tell people about what's coming up on Pack the Park on August 20th.
Well, talking about leading by example, this community can all come together and lead by example by making a statement that this community not only stands for kindness and stands up for it, it'll show up for it on August 20th, Pack the Park for Kindness. We're looking to mobilize the whole community, your business, your organization, your schools, your families, get the word out. Obviously, we've seen recently where at times New York makes the news for all the wrong reasons, and it creates a perception that we know is not true. This is a culture of kindness in our communities, and there are outliers and things happen that maybe can create a contrary perception. But we have an opportunity to really make a statement and make the news for all the right reasons. We pack the park on August 20th on a Thursday night, literally pack the park and show up and infuse kindness throughout that fan experience. That will make the news for all the right reasons. So I'm really hoping everyone will spread the word, share the word, and show up in large numbers on August 20th.
Well, and even last week we had a controversial thing come up a little bit. The bottom line is families have squabbles now and then in little moments. But they come together as family eventually again, and I think that's what happened here. I think it was handled well by all. And so the idea of, you have a disagreement on something, okay, there it is. Work it out. And they did that and moved on, and I think that speaks well of the organization and, lessons to be learned by all as we continue through life. That's what it's all about. But Kevin, always good to have you on a Monday morning. Looking forward. I won't be here on Friday. You're going to have to talk, I believe, with Jim Hanneslager on Friday, who is always having a lot of fun, and he'll look forward to talking to you. But I hope you have a great week. And thank you, my friend. And again, August 20th, mark it on your calendar. Ground Zero for Kindness is going to be right here at Wellspan Park, where it is Pack the Park night on August 20th. And also go to kindnessworldwide.org. Check out Kevin's email. Get him to come out and show you For Such a Time as This, a great film, which is being received well around the world now, even in Japan, Kevin. So have a great week,
Talk about going the extra mile. Now we're overseas.
Yeah, going the extra mile. A few extra miles. Several thousand extra miles. But there you go. But Kevin Smith, always doing a great job. KindnessWorldwide.org, one of the great sponsors of our show right here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Thanks, Kev. Have a great week.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, buddy. Speaking of modeling, speaking of coaching, our next guest is Russ Stoner, who is the former head coach at York High as of last week, and some controversy in the community about that. We're going to get his side of the story. He has not had a chance to put it out there yet. We're going to get it next from where he stood as head coach of York High football, also the head of AFL Accountability for Life, which is a nonprofit here that helps kids in York. He's going to give us his thoughts next on the Gary Sutton Show on WOIK, where it is 7:30. And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on a Monday morning where a lot of us read the news last week. And one of the guys who's been a coach in this area for a long time, Coach Russ Stoner, head coach at William Penn High School, York High, had been there since, I believe, 2016, if memory serves, was 1-9 his first year. From that point on, 62 wins, 41 losses. 8 of those losses were playoff losses. You take out the 1-9 the first year, and pretty darn good record over that period of time. 8 playoffs in 10 years, 3 championships in York County, District 3 runner-up, District 3 semifinals. And we're talking about Coach Russ Stoner, former head coach of York High football. Coach, great to have you on the show this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, first of all, sorry about what happened last week. And I guess the first question I want to ask you is, when did you first find out that the school board at York High was not going to renew your contract after 11 years of being there?
Well, honestly, Gary, we heard rumors, but it's the rumors that I've heard for the last 9 years. So it's not that we didn't take things seriously, but really we found out that when my name didn't appear on the agenda, was really when we found out that this was not going to happen this football season.
Coach, you started AFL, Accountability for Life. You're one of our sponsors last year, and you have been helping kids get scholarships. You've been helping York High kids for a long time. You put your heart and soul into all this. What are your thoughts here on the fact that you mentioned about rumors over the last 9 years? Why? I mean, you've had a winning record. You've put York High on the map. You've been part of the conversation here. Obviously, Central here in our district. You've got 2 great teams and 2 great rivalries every year. What were the rumors about over that period of time?
In all honesty, Gary, I don't know. We have done and we've accomplished, and I want to make sure no one diminishes what we have accomplished. I mean,
right.
We took over a program that won, in 7 years prior to us getting there, they won a total of 12 games. Gary, they never beat a team that was the same classification or larger in that time, right?
Right.
So when we took over this program, there was 13 players on the team with a .03 GPA, and from the first marking period on, we never were below a 3.0. So we knew, we had the double shooting in the parking lot my first home game. We had, unfortunately, one of our players, murdered week 9 in 2016. And we just got to work, right? And, Gary, I've known you a long time, and right. I ruffle people's feathers, right? And in those 10 years, of course, some feathers were going to be ruffled because you needed to do it your way. You needed to,
right.
And we did. We did it our way. We did it with love and compassion, but sometimes we did it with, I was very strict, and there's all kinds of things. I don't want to talk about the negative things. I really don't. Not at this point. Not at this point, because you know how this works, Gary. If I say something negative, it's sour grapes or whatever, and however, But I will tell you, this is no joke. The morning my wife showed me the agenda, 1 million pounds were lifted off my back, because this is probably to do what we did in 10 years. It was 10 seasons. Really 10 and a half, because we've done all the heavy lifting for this football season. Correct? Right. We've been doing it since November with these guys, and we've developed some really good players, and so I don't want to sound like there's any sour grapes. Gotcha. And of course, if I really tell you all the things that went on, I'll never coach in York County again, because all the other school districts will be like, oh my gosh, what if he says that about us? And I'm not willing to do that at this point.
You're not here to badmouth anybody else, or even badmouth the district.
No.
But I got it.
There was some definitely crazy things, and we'll probably do some cliff. I don't know. We'll probably do some kind of book at some point, because I had a blast at York High. I really did. We cried, we laughed, we cheered, we did all those things. Gary, there wasn't a county championship since 2000 or 1988. That's when I was in high school. and then we win one in 2017, 2018, and 2020. You know, I mean, put over 70 kids into college. 50 of them have already graduated. My staff was phenomenal. I mean, I mean, from Matt Baker to Andy Stauffer to Ben Krager to, and then you got to look at Vince Jamison and you're talking about guys that I either grew up with, played against, or kids that I coached. You know, we had Khalid Dorsey, Eric Mann Jr., Denier Banks, all these young guys that I had 6 kids. I shouldn't say kids. I had 6 young men that played for us, graduated from college, and came back to the city to help.
Wow. I mean, that speaks about loyalty to the program, loyalty to the town, loyalty to the style of coaching that you brought. So as you look now, and so not to dwell on the negative side of things, although, we have noticed, we saw Don Dimoff over at Red Lion let go after 600 and some wins, and we hear about people finagling behind the scenes with the superintendent, all that kind of stuff. Have parents... Are parents realistic in terms of what they want right now? Are school districts, administrations, again, I'm not tarring or feathering anybody in particular, don't get me wrong, but have we become too unrealistic on what we are asking people to do? I mean, you've got a consistent program year in and year out. What are your thoughts on that as a coach in a general sense?
Well, in a general sense, Gary, school districts make no sense, correct? Because here's the thing: if you have a disgruntled parent, which I don't know of any disgruntled parents with us at all, right? But if you have a disgruntled parent, or you have a disgruntled community member, or whatever it might be, they come and go. You want a consistent, like I'm going to be honest with you, Gary. It's harder and harder to find really good coaches. Right. And it's harder and harder to find people that want to put themselves through this, the situations that I just went through.
Right.
I mean, and I'm going to continue to go through. I mean, the amount of people that have reached out to me, like from all over the country, not just from York City and in York County, in the fishbowl of York County. So here is the thing: when you get a good one, you better hang on to them, right? And one of the problems is, like with Coach Dimoff, that whole situation is just absurd to me, right?
Right.
Because here's the thing: every parent is going to always look at their kids through the rose-colored glasses, and so we all get it. UBF, I mean, we all get it. As fathers, as parents, we want the best for our kids.
Right.
But sometimes you got to sit back and be like, okay, what really are we trying to get out of sports? Are we trying to teach no commitment? I mean, there's more commitment to sports now than there ever has been. Ever.
Well, and you've taken your particular situation. I want to ask you one other question before I kind of move to a more positive side of this. Has any reason ever been given to you as to why they did not want to renew your contract? Did anybody call you and say, hey, by the way, here's what happened, here's what the linchpin was? What's your thought?
No, Gary. And every rumor that's out there about anything is totally false. The district hasn't even called me, sent me an email.
Wow.
Not a thing. Not a thank you. Not a hey, this is what we think of you. Not one person has reached out to me from the school district of York.
That's a shame.
Not one.
Yeah, I mean, you give them a good bit of your life. People don't realize, I think sometimes, how many hours people put in. Now, I'm going to add to that on your case,
Gary,
because
hours, holy cow, yeah.
Days, months, years. But you started a nonprofit. I remember years ago, you and I met down at the Strand one day, and you were talking about AFL, Accountability for Life, and you started this AFL thing. You have your own place out there now, and you have a gym, kind of a gym in there people can work out in. You welcome people not just for your own program, but others as well. But you also have an area that's kind of a social area where kids have to be accountable. You've had all kinds of drives for kids, picking up trash downtown, doing different things. You've held an academic standard. You've got a workout area over there. You've got kids getting scholarships. So you started a nonprofit in addition to doing this. I'd say you probably went above and beyond the call of duty, my friend, and I imagine that you haven't made a ton of money out of that as well. Your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing. The reason I started AFL was certainly to support York High football at first, right? Because we just needed things, and we needed a place for the kids to always be able to go to, and it really has morphed into something really awesome, and I'm not going anywhere with that. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I mean, obviously, I got some phone calls from other schools, and I and I'm not saying no to anybody at this point, right? But here's the thing: AFL is not going anywhere.
Right.
It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. This September when we kick off for college football, Gary, there'll be over 60 kids from York County alone that will be playing college football because of our help at AFL, our college athletic planning program, and that's over just a 4-year period. So. To me, it's all about mentoring kids. It's all about giving kids opportunities, and then the relationships that we have built with college coaches. I mean, I've done this for a little bit. It's been 30 years.
Yeah.
And we're proud of what we've accomplished with AFL, but we're not done with it. I mean, now I'm going to have more time to even spend on it. So, I'm at the beach right now. I left last week after this happened just to get a breath, but there's been a lot of things in the works prior to last Wednesday. So we are really going to get back to work, and we're going to, we're still going to help the kids of New York City. I mean, there's 100% of the kids that attend AFL CAP for York High. They all have told me they want to continue with it.
Well, that's a good thing. Let me ask you this Let me ask you a final question. And I really appreciate you calling me on your vacation this morning, but it's a hot item here in your community. But here's the deal. So will we see Coach Russ Stoner coaching again in football beyond AFL?
For sure. I believe wholeheartedly every school district could use a program like Accountability for Life.
Yeah.
And I believe that I'm not finished coaching, and I believe that I have 20 men that are wanting to pour back into children the way we just poured into York City. And at the end of the day, I'm sure there's a community out there that's going to be like, hey, you know what? Let's get a hold of these guys and see if we can support what they have done in the past and see if they can help our community. So that's kind of where I'm letting it, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Coach, to be continued, we hope, and we'll look forward.
Right.
We'll look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you for taking the time to be candid with us this morning on this, and we wish you the very best wherever you land, and looking forward to seeing where you go from here. Okay.
Hey, Gary, I appreciate it. You guys have a great week.
Thank you. You take care. Coach Russ Stoner, former head coach at York High, with his thoughts this morning on that, Mark. It was kind of interesting to hear another coach goes down. Again, the fact that no one called him or talked to him, according to Coach Stoner, or said to him, here's where you could do better. We'll give you some remediation time or whatever. That didn't happen. No one's called to say thank you for 11 years of service. Those are things that could be done. Even if you decided to let him go, I mean, those are things that should be done. But the lack of appreciation today by some school districts
it happened
is
to
really
us,
sad.
When we kind of got bounced. I mean, it was like, thank you for 20-odd years. Don't forget.
Don't forget to close the door.
Would you like a box for your stuff? Because you have to.
Yeah, we never got a real thank you from anybody or anything. But you know what? Neither of us expected that.
That's true.
And there were a lot of people on Facebook and places like that said, "Oh, this is terrible." I said, but we understood our business, the coldness of it. This is a little different. You're working with kids. You got families. You've got, and people want to know. I said with the Coach Dimhoff situation, same thing right here with Russ Stoner. You want to know what happened to these people. Why were they let go? Was there something that they did? Especially if they're going to go on and coach somewhere else, you want to say, well, is there something we should know if we hire him? But nothing. Yeah. Not a word. And again, we have districts hiding behind, well, it's a personnel matter. Okay, I get that. But by the same token, if there was something that they did wrong, they're public figures. I mean, it's a rock and a hard place kind of situation. I get it. But I appreciate Coach Stoner taking time this morning to talk about this. He continues to work with AFL, Accountability for Life. And there you go. When we come back, Andy Harold joins us for a lawyer moment. Yeah, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. A Point of Law is next, and Andrew Harold, lawyer with Anstead & Sparler, attorneys at law, one of our great presenting sponsors here on the show, is with us here this morning. Andrew, how are you doing this morning?
Great, Gary. How are you?
I am doing well. Always look forward to this segment every week because I always walk away learning something brand new. What do you have for us this week on a topic in the law?
Well, last week we sort of shifted to the land use thing. I thought I would just stick with that topic here today.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about the various types of approvals that one might need to seek if they want to do something with their land and they need to go to the township or the borough or whatever the case may be. And one of those is a special exception. And we have this adage in the law that a special exception is neither special nor an exception. And so if somebody needs to seek a special exception to do something on their land, basically it's just saying that it's sort of a double check. I like to call it a double check, where they need to go to the zoning hearing board. They just need to prove to the zoning hearing board a couple of relatively simple things. What are those things? Well, it's that the use isn't going to detract materially from the values of the other neighbors, okay? So we want to make sure that what this person is doing isn't going to sort of degrade the neighborhood. Another thing is that you need to double check and confirm, prove to the zoning hearing board that there is adequate public utilities, so water, sewer, things like that. And a couple of other, generally speaking, easy things to prove. Traffic. One of the things is that frequently you have to prove that there's not going to be a negative impact to traffic. But again, if when you go to the township and they say, well, that takes a special exception, again, it can sort of be off-putting because you think, well, a special exception is going to be pretty difficult to achieve. Right. And in reality, it's not. And having said that, though, what I always recommend with these land use cases is it is important to have a lawyer. Why do I say that? These things are not necessarily, these criteria are not necessarily overly difficult to prove, but you have to go through them methodically. And if you miss just one of those criteria, you could find yourself not getting the approval that you want. And so the lawyer knows what those criteria are. They know the methodology to sort of walk through each criteria step by step, make sure that they're hitting each and every criteria before the zoning hearing board, so that the landowner can get the approvals for what they're looking to do. And look, these special exceptions can be for, generally speaking, sort of minor uses, or they can go the whole way up to, really major uses, sort of like what I was talking about last week with heavy industrial data centers, types of things like that. And the final sort of point, and I'll open it up to any thoughts that you might have, Gary, but if a use is not provided for in a zoning ordinance, typically it can be approved via a special exception. So we were talking about data centers last week, and one of the reasons that townships are interested in putting regulations and ordinances in place is because if they don't have those ordinances, it may revert back to a simple special exception, and you could find yourself with a heavy industrial use that you really hadn't planned for.
I would think with these data centers especially, special exceptions is going to come up a lot because there are various things that we've never had to deal with before that are going to be out there now that might come under that special exception. Again, not knowing what all the criteria are for those, but it would seem like with the uniqueness of these new places, that might come up more often. Would that be a fair statement?
Well, that's exactly right, and it's a function of the townships not necessarily having had a chance to get the regulations in place, because it is so new. And again, if the townships, a lot of times when the townships mention the word data center, people get up in arms. But in reality, it's sort of getting in front of that curve so that somebody can't come in, a data center can't come in and just sort of slide in under the radar without ensuring that there are sufficient regulations to address the concerns that these uses bring with them.
So as you talk about these things, what I hear you saying is the lawyer better be ready. He better know all point by point by point by point. When you want to do something with your land, you want to build a shed or you want to build something on maybe a private piece of property, or if you want to go something larger than that, and you have the wherewithal to do it, you better have someone lined up ahead of time in a proactive way to make sure they've got you covered. Final thoughts.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And it can be as minor as a shed. But what you don't want to do is, look, it costs money to apply to the zoning hearing boards, typically $500, $700. You don't want to waste that $700, be back to square one, missed something inadvertently, and then have to pay for another application. And, oh, by the way, then you've got to go and pay the lawyer. It's better to pay the lawyer the first time. Get it done right so that, you're ensuring that you can use your property the way you want to use it.
And Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law, is where Andy is employed. They're 117 East Market Street. Their phone number is 846-8811. They're ready to help you with things like this, as well as the state administration, estates at large, civic law, business law, elder law, all of that. Their hours are Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5. Andy, you guys have been around since 1937, although I always say you haven't been around since 1937. But, the firm has been a gold standard for law here in York and York County since that time. Final thoughts this morning, Andy.
Well, it's just always a great pleasure to be here, Gary. I hope everybody has a great week, and I'm probably going to have a sit-in next week, so I will touch base with you about that, Gary, so I'll talk to you in about 2 weeks.
We'll do that. I'll look forward to it. Andy, always good talking to you. Thank you so much for what you're doing for the community here in so many different ways. But 117 East Market Street in New York, Stein and Sparrow, attorneys at law. Andy Harold is one of those guys working there and doing a great job. 717-846-8811. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you to Stein and Sparrow, attorneys at law, open Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5. Andy, have a great week.
You too, Gary. See ya.
Take care. When we come back, Major Joe Decree joins us here on the Gary Sutton Show, and then Mark Hendrickson, all straight ahead on WOYK, where it is right now, 8 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
You talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
You might hear that at Frank's Marble and Granite. You talking to me? I'm the only one here. They do one-on-one appointments, by the way. Frank's Marble and Granite, the proud sponsors of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show, where they specialize in granite quartz, marble, and soapstone services, serving York, Lancaster, Harrisburg, Gettysburg, and Baltimore, and Bel Air, and Westminster, Maryland. But we worry about York, right? All started back in 1972 by Frank Pantano. You talking to me? Yeah. Yeah, from Italy. I mean, they talk like that sometimes. But you know what? Frank, a great guy. And, of course, an Italian-born stonemaker. And his son, Carmine, is carrying on the old world passion for stone. They have local roots right here. They're not a big box store, no. They're your neighbors who have been beautifying York County homes for over 50 years. They're the proud sponsors of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show. And what they do is they combine traditional craftsmanship with the latest technology. Every piece is fabricated using machinery made right here in the United States of America. No subcontractors. They've got loyal people working there for an average of like 20 years. And so you know who's coming to your home. People who have been dedicated to making sure they do it right. Consistent, great quality. The team stays the same. The quality stays the same. It's excellent all the time. And Carmine and his mom make sure that happens all the time. They have 600 slabs in stock, including granite, marble, quartz, quartzite, and soapstone. And you can get a one-on-one chat with them. That's exactly. They don't do like people just show up. They set up one-on-one appointments where you can come in and they'll take you on the tour and they'll make sure that they treat you because you are the only one in that moment that's important, right? Go to franksgranite.com. That's franksgranite.com, or call to schedule whether you want to do a bathroom project or a kitchen project, you want a brand new counter, whatever it might be. Call to schedule at 717-244-2685. You can find them at 125 Householder Avenue in Red Lion. Frank's Marble and Granite. Find them at franksgranite.com. Of course, our main sponsors here of our entire show, kindnessworldwide.org and Inside and Spoiler Attorneys at Law right here. And you can also check in on our text line today at 833-478-4729, all brought to you by the Back Nine. Check them out at theback9golf.com/York-PA. And finally, our question of the day today is, what is a snack you can't do without? There was a big survey done that 79% of us are snack people in this country. So what's a snack that you just cannot do without? That's the question today at Gary Sutton Show. Also find us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And also our if you want to get a replay, for example, this morning of Russ Stoner being here, our former York High head coach. We did an interview with him this morning, first one he has done. And you can find that at WOYK on YouTube after the show today if you want to go back and hear that again and hear what he had to say. So all that here on the Gary Sutton Show today on WOYK. We welcome this morning Major Joe Dupree, a former veteran, and well, not a former veteran, he's always a veteran, but served in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kosovo, has been in intelligence at Quantico, has taught ROTC here at Millersville University, has even started a church for veterans out in Montana where they speak the speak. And he joins us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. What's up?
Well, I haven't talked about Iran yet this morning, and it looks like we're trying.
Oh, gosh.
We're trying to get a final thing done there. They're negotiating. I guess the vice president's been over there, and they're trying to settle this thing. Any take on that? Anything new that jumps out at you as you look at this whole deal? As we look at the world through the eyes of a veteran this morning, that's you.
Oh, I think Iran's doing what Iran does. They're not going to be cooperative. Like, they have no intention of it. Like that's just not in their much. Their whole faction of Islam requires an opponent. They have to be an offended party. They have to be, avenging themselves. It's really sick and twisted. So that's what they're doing. Now that the ladies say, well, we can't sign a deal because the president's rhetoric. Like, if I was President Trump, I'd have said, all right, Dark Island's gone. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
I think it's time to quit being nice to people. I know probably Qatar and Qatar, Kuwait, some of these other places are probably, asking him not to go, the full Monty here.
Sure.
But, honestly, and he's trying to be nice to people. Well, maybe they should have some, and not. I think he's trying to. I don't know that he's changing his opinion as much as he's trying to, entice them to negotiate and figure out the final deals. But they're just not interested, and I would just keep pounding the crap out of them.
Well, and there's a lot of people are looking at it and saying, well, okay, what do we want at the end of all this? Now, I was listening this morning on another place, and they were talking about, well, this is the way the uranium breaks down and how they're going to get it out of there and how you can make it, accountable. And yet you said in the very top of this discussion, Iran is being Iran. I mean, they're putting things off. They're soft pedaling. They've got to control the Strait of Hormuz. Unless we take control of that remains a big bargaining chip, big leverage point. So you look at it and say, has anything major changed so far? Do they fear getting attacked again in the future, for example, if things would break down? I don't know if they do. I don't know that mindset too well. Your thoughts on that?
Clearly they don't. Or they think that there's a lot of bluff, or they think they have more control than they do. Is it possible they can wait us out? Well, that's always possible. They're on their home turf. We have to cross the whole world to get there. But honestly, I would just ramp it up.
Do they look at
really ramp it up?
Are they wise enough? And probably maybe they are. I don't know. I want to get your take because you've been over there. You've seen some of the mindset. Are they wise enough to say, okay, we got midterm elections coming here in the United States, and if Trump, if a lot of Trump's people go down, he becomes a lame duck, then we're going to deal with a much nicer group of people or a much more conciliatory group of people. Do you sense that they feel that at all? Am I
everybody plays the U.S. election cycle. Everybody plays the U.S. election cycle. Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, I believe the North Vietnamese did too, and they probably wrote the book on it.
Well, there was a general in North Vietnam that they asked at one time, what do you have to do to win this war? He said, I don't have to do anything. He said, we have to wait for people to get tired of it. We have to wait for the Congress to, back off, and we'll win. And they did. And it was, so that is that kind of the modus operandi on looking at how we operate. Your thoughts?
Probably. It worked in Afghanistan as well. Militarily we won, and then of course, politically we give the victory away, and we do that all the time in long wars. And so. But here's the thing that Iran is underestimating. One, what's a long war to the United States? Everybody thinks, like we have guys that have been in combat continuously for 7 and 10 years.
Right.
Okay. So, opponents, every time somebody squares up against the United States, they believe we will not fight and we will not stick around. Neither is true. But how long do you want us to stick around?
Right.
And then you have the Germany problem of, okay, you're still sticking around. Like, knock it off.
Right.
Right? So, neither is true. But what is true is you can outwait the election cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you this question. You've always said this since you've been on our show since the 1800s. But one of the things that you've always talked about is clear objectives. Are the objectives clear here for our country in terms of what we want?
They are not. Over the weekend, I saw over the last week, I saw the president say, we're not here about regime change, which is exactly what he said when we started. Now, again, is this the Donald doing the art of the deal, or is this, did he learn something and say, yeah, this is probably not supportable at this point in time, or something else? But the problem with those kinds of things is, it is a clear 180 from what we started. He said the objective is regime change. Okay. we didn't get that done, and do we really want to? I don't know. The country has the stomach for that kind of a thing right now.
Right.
And regime changes that are inflicted by others are rarely durable historically. They tend to not stick around. So, I'm gonna put my give benefit of the doubt as I generally do, and say he probably learned something, in some briefings and, some readings and thought, oh, this may not be a great deal. But I don't feel like it's clear. I mean, I think clearly, free flow of oil through the Straits is one clear objective.
Right.
I'm not sure what other objectives there are.
And making sure that Iran can't control that every time, because they certainly have their hand on the spigot there. But the one part where it seems to me that he's been, and again, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, he's been very clear to say, I don't want a nuclear Iran. Yeah, and he said that from the very beginning. And yet, like you said over the weekend, he said, well, they need some nuclear power. And then all of a sudden you go, wait a second. But a nuclear Iran, what he means by that is a nuclear Iran that can do weapons grade kind of nuclear stuff, not.
Right. And I'm not physicist enough to know what's the difference there. However,
how far do you have to enrich
it muddies word. Now, the rhetoric game to get people to come to the negotiating table is not necessarily the same things that are being negotiated, right?
Right.
So, and I think, and President Trump does that really well. He doesn't like anybody that disagrees with him, but as soon as you agree with him, now he's saying all kinds of great things about you, right? And as soon as you change your mind, now he's saying horrible things about you. So, I just see this as part of that cycle. I don't know what the communication is to the military.
Yeah, and
what's Pete Hegseth putting out?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with it.
And that does come from the White House.
Yeah. Joe, good stuff this morning, man. As always, I appreciate your insights. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. And we look forward to catching up with you again next week, all right?
All right, bro. Talk to you.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great week. Take care. Joe Decree, live from Montana this morning, right here on the Gary Sutton Show. Jack Giambalvo wants to be your partner for the summer road trips. Yeah, they do. And they do that in a lot of different ways. But they want to make sure, for example, what about your tires? I mean, the weather is hot. The open road's calling. The tires take the biggest beating on summer highways. And if your ride feels a little shaky, if it's pulling to one side or the tread looks worn, or get it checked before you head on out there. You can stop by one of the 6 great Jack Giambalvo family of dealership spots to get that checked out, and they will take care of that for you. What they also will take care of for you is you can buy a new car, or you can buy one of their pre-owned cars. Giambalvo Pre-Owned Inventory.com is where you go for that. And what you find out is Jack Giambalvo has been around for over 50 years. When Jack Giambalvo got it all started way, way back when, and now here they are going strong. The gold standard for cars here in York and York County. And when it comes to pre-owned cars, Jack Giambalvo has got the greatest selection you're going to find anywhere here in York County. And when you buy pre-owned with Jack Giambalvo, you get free lifetime PA state inspections for you and anybody in your household. You get a 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty included on most pre-owned vehicles, and you know that Giambalvo name means something when those vehicles go through the rigorous inspection to ensure they're roadworthy in a Giambalvo pre-owned car, because he would not put it out there on the road if it wasn't roadworthy. Jack Giambalvo has been doing that for 50-plus years of establishing trust, quality cars, and reliable service. And your no hassle, no pressure kind of attitude that their salespeople have really makes it an enjoyable situation to go get that pre-owned car. Now, you can start out by checking out what they have available at their 6 great dealerships by going to GiambalvoPreOwnedInventory.com. Get in there. It's open 24 hours a day. Find out the latest on the cars and the trucks and the SUVs they have out there for you, and see exactly where you need to go for that. And then when you get there, tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. Jack Giambalvo, PreOwnedInventory.com. Jack Giambalvo, family of dealerships, the gold standard here in York County for great cars.
2. He winds. He fires. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Fastball. Paolini strikes out for the second time today. And Costa continues to cook. 2 down here in the 6th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Julian Reddy kicks, fires. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Went back to the curve this time. Down and away to get the K. And 2 down here in the 7th. Blackwell 0 for 3 with a walk, a steal, a run. Pitch, he swings, hits this one in the air in right. It'll send Wilson back. He can't get to it, and it's off the base of the wall. And 2 runs are going to score. Blackwell into second, a 2-run double off the base of the wall in right. And the Revs keep pouring it on here in the 7th inning. It's 11-0. Rapp stretches. And he fires. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Breaking ball finishes it. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Revs blow out the Blue Crabs 11-1 the final.
And the Revs beat the Blue Crabs like a redheaded stepchild yesterday on Father's Day, 11-1. That's Julian Costa, a York Revolution rookie, in his pro debut, pitched 6.2 scoreless innings. He was unbelievable. Allowed just 2 hits, walked only 2 batters while striking out 4. Only 1 guy got a hit out of the infield against them, Mark. Signed after a standout career at Westchester University, and yesterday showed what he could do, carrying a 1-hit shutout into the 7th inning with just an infield hit. And he was lifted after they got the first hit out of the infield after that, and the Revs went on to win 11-1 and looked really good yesterday. On Father's Day, they now go to 29-24. I think they're 4 games out of first here in the Northern Division behind Lancaster still. Tomorrow night, they will be in Charleston, West Virginia, where right-handed pitcher Rhett Kuba, 3-2, will be pitching. You can catch all the live action here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK AM, 989WOYK.com, the York Revolution app, and Home Team Network /Dugout TV beginning at 6:15 with Darryl tomorrow night. With that, we turn right now to Carmine Pantano, who, as we mentioned a moment ago, the head of Frank's Marble and Granite, right down here at 125 Householder Lane in Red Lion, the maker of the best indoor countertops, kitchen tops, all kinds of great slabs in stock, granite, marble, quartz, quartzite, and soapstone. And good morning, Carmine. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
We're doing pretty well. So what's on your mind this morning in terms of what's going on in business right now? We're seeing gas prices coming down a little bit. We're seeing maybe some things starting to ease a bit. But is that giving you hope for a better business climate? You're also the head of buylocalyork.com right here in the area. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts this morning. You feeling pretty good this week?
I am, and I always feel pretty good. I'm always positive about it, even if even when things are a little out of whack. I always know that it's going to come back. Things are going to come back to being in a good place. Ebbs and flows of being in business. That's just the way it is. But yeah, we're actually seeing some good excitement from customers coming in. People are looking to remodel, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good summer, good fall.
It's amazing how quickly things change in our business climate, isn't it? I mean, just when you look at geo-global kinds of things that are going on, geopolitical things that are going on, it's amazing how quickly things change nowadays, is it not?
It's amazing, and it's happened. Like in the past, it would take a little bit for the reaction to happen, but now the reaction is it's an instant thing where whichever way it goes, it's instant. And I guess just the world of the internet and the world of the new 24-hour news cycle, everything just, if it's a positive thing, within minutes, people feel better about it and do different things.
We see it in the markets. We see it elsewhere where it's not necessarily that the price changed today, but the intent to change the price, the intent that it's going to go lower is really what it's all about right now. As you look at business, and we talk with you about this kind of stuff every Monday because you're kind of deeply involved in the Buy Local York coalition. What's the toughest part about business that you see right now out there on the climate that we have at the moment?
I mean, I would say obviously, the everyday stuff currently, the way things are with like the gas prices are up and just overall raw material costs of everything is up. but that's just part of business, and that's how things are. But when you're in business, it's not just the stuff. It's not just the raw materials and cost of gas. It's insurance. It's taxes. It's a little bit of everything. And it's being in business, being a self-employed person it's not easy, and it's not for the faint of heart. But it has its rewards.
It's like going in the arena. Not everybody wants to go in the arena and get bloody and dirty and stuff, but that's what you do when you start a business, and when you're part of a business like your dad started back in 1972, and you've been carrying on so well. Going into the arena every day, right? Getting bloody and dirty and coming out and saying, I'm ready to go back again tomorrow.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm excited to go back in the next day, even no matter how bloody and dirty you get.
What kind of spurs you on? What are the things that you say, you know what? Because all of us go through a day every now and then where we say, okay, this really sucked today. This is a bad day. But what you're a guy, and anybody who knows Carmine knows how enthusiastic he is all the time. I mean, Carmine is he's like a walking party, but in terms of the attitude. But what gets you that way all the time? When you've had a tough day, how do you recover? How do you get ready to go back in the next day and say, okay, today's brand new?
I tell you, for me personally, once I leave work, I try to leave everything at work.
Okay.
And I try to just stay away from work and like live life and have a good time in the evening whether I'm with my friends, whether I'm at a restaurant eating. And then it kind of resets me, and I get into like a reset. And it's like, okay, yeah, I had a bad day at work, but now I feel better. I have a better attitude, and then the next day it's a new day, and it's like nothing even happened the previous day.
That's a great point. And I think a lot of us have a tough time with that sometimes, where we say, I can't just leave it behind. It's tough. Yeah. But I think your advice, Carmine, for anybody in business would be great advice, that if you can somehow compartmentalize and say, all right, I'm putting that to bed. And maybe I'm going to a ball game tonight. You and I went to a ball game earlier this season. Or maybe I'm going out with my friends to have dinner at Hamir's, or I'm going somewhere else. I'm gonna take time, and I'm just gonna forget about it. They always say that about when you're working on a problem. Remember, you're working on your stuff at school, and they said, man, I'm stuck. Get up, walk away, come back to it later, and somehow there's a fresh perspective. Final thoughts this morning, your part.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I do that a lot with a lot of the paperwork we do with taxes and stuff. I tell you what you just said is 100% right. You walk away from it, come back to it, and all of a sudden you just fix the problem. And you're like, how did I not do that earlier? Yep, I love. That's exactly what we do. That a lot every week.
There it is. Well, that's my only good advice. I give good advice one time a year, Carmine, whether people want it or not. But
it's more than that.
Yeah, people can check you out at franksgranite.com. They can call to schedule that famous one-on-one appointment, usually with you, or maybe even with your mom or somebody else down there. But if you're ready to start your kitchen or your bathroom transformation, you need to call Frank's team today, and that's Carmine. 717-244-2685. They're right there at 125 Householder Avenue in Red Line. Final thought this morning, Carmine.
Hey, I just want to say, it's the day after, but happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I know that was yesterday, but we're on the air today, and wish everybody a great week and a great summer.
And as no one else can, Carmine Pantano, Mr. Happiness, Mr. Buy Local York, and head of Frank's Granite, and they just do a wonderful job for that next kitchen, bathroom project, whatever you're looking to do at your home. They've got over 600 slabs in stock, including granite, marble, quartz, quartzite, and soapstone, but they'll get personalized attention down there, just like you heard here on the radio. Hey, have a great week, my friend. I'll look forward to talking to you again next Monday morning.
Thank you. Take care.
Carmine Pantano, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Mark Hendrickson just around the corner here on WOYK. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. And we welcome in this morning Mark Henderson, former Major League pitcher and NBA player for the Sixers, also pitched for the Orioles in Toronto and a number of other teams. I'm probably missing some of them, but he's with us here this morning as a commentator every Monday morning here on WOYK. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I was intrigued yesterday by the Wyndham Clark winning the U.S. Open golf tournament. And I was more intrigued by how he was treated by the fans throughout the final round when he was playing with Scotty Scheffler, number one in the world, whose birthday it was yesterday, who was trying to complete the Grand Slam and all that stuff. But people were rooting when his ball went down a bank and rolled into trouble and all kinds of stuff. Now, last year, he ruined a locker room at Oakmont and had to pay for it and put money out to some kind of charity, and he had to take anger management, and he did all that kind of stuff. And it was interesting yesterday to watch him. And I read an article this morning that said that the not booze so much, but people rooting against him actually fueled him yesterday. And he said he used that fuel to help to win the Open. But afterward, he said, I know why some of you are against me. I was kind of a jerk last year. I screwed up. I hope I could win you over someday. But I understand Scotty's number one in the world, and you're rooting for him. But he said, today was my day. And what were your thoughts on this? When you talk about how fans will root against people in other sports, but in golf, it's kind of not something you do. You just don't do that.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I think sometimes you see golfers get really upset, and other athletes are looking at them going, "Gosh, if we could only tell you what we hear that the average public, may not be aware of." I mean, it is really brutal, and I think it was something that's ironic because I was actually thinking about that when I dropped my daughter off at camp this morning. Is a lot of time as an athlete, you expect, "Hey, I'm at home. I expect to be supported." I think a rude awakening for me when I got into pro sports was I came into Philly, and some of these fans live off of the reputation. Like, oh, they're tough fans. They're tough fans. And it's like the hard part for me as a young player was understanding, too, that once you kind of become a professional, now the home team isn't always supporting you. Coming up through high school, coming up through college, you struggled. They were there to kind of pick you up. The fans were there. They felt for you. And once I got to pro sports, it completely changed. And I think, with golf, they don't have that home crowd. And so I think people flock to certain players. And we've talked about Scotty. Scotty's kind of boring. So you know what? People like him. The Wyndham thing, I think you led into the story great. Tears up a clubhouse at Oakmont. That's a prestigious club.
Right.
People don't know the situation, so all of a sudden they paint probably a little bit of a black eye towards him. So, you're in New York, guess what? The fans are going to turn on you. They want to see competition, but then again, they don't let anything slide. And there's a lot of fans that are very educated.
Yeah.
They do their background on you and will start to, let you know. And for golfers, it is kind of hard.
Well, in this day and age, you can go Google anything, and you can go in there and find an AI run on anybody. It's really easy to do. But here's a guy who, I thought it was refreshing yesterday, the humbleness that he had when he came out and he said, "You know what? I can understand why he didn't like me too much. I didn't have such a good year a year ago, and I kind of promised myself I'd do better." And he did. I mean, what better way could you do it than come back and win the Open after not making the cut the year ago, missing it by one shot, tearing up a locker, getting banned from Oakmont, one of the most prestigious clubs in the country, and then having to take care of all kinds of mea culpas to get back into good graces. But Mark said something earlier this morning. He said, "When do you get forgiven on this kind of stuff, or sometimes do you ever get forgiven, or are you just seen as the bad guy for time immemorial?" Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think here's something that the young kids can really learn from. It's like, I think we appreciate athletes for what they do. Sometimes we put them in a category or on a pedestal that's almost not fair because they're human beings. I think you see that with some of your great athletes. I know with Tiger Woods, everybody loved Tiger the golfer, but I don't think anybody really knew Tiger the person. And unfortunately, when you become a pro athlete, everything's in the spotlight. So for Wyndham, it was one of those things where, you go destroy a clubhouse, because of the course it was at, the timing of when it was, because he's a pro golfer. It got magnified, which some people may not ever get past. But somebody like you in your profession, you would probably say, hey, let me sit down and have an interview. You probably have great questions that you could pry out a little humanity from him and probably allow the public to see more of the human side. And I think ultimately that's what people kind of resonate with is, hey, I made a mistake. Everybody can relate to that. I didn't handle it properly. And hopefully I win you back with some of the things that I do. And then obviously, he played very, very well the whole week, won a tournament, but I think it's more just showing that human side.
Did you ever channel anger? I mean, he said I channeled that. So I took it and put it in another place, and I said, "Okay, it's like I'm going to show him I can play through this, that I'm better than this." I'm not sure what all went through his mind, but he said I channeled it the whole time. Did you ever channel anger when you played at a certain place, maybe in college or high school, or even on the pros? Yeah.
Sure, just some of the comments that you hear, because here's the thing. You don't have the motivation all the time.
Right.
So you hear the greats. You hear about the stories that Michael Jordan would tell himself just to be motivated.
He'd make up stuff sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just live in that moment all the time. That's not realistic. So sometimes, you can go there. But every once in a while, and I think it goes both ways, sometimes fans can get under your skin and you play poorly.
Right.
So that's one of those lessons that it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a pro athlete to experience this. I think young athletes experience and have more of a difficult time because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to fuel it. They don't know how to channel it. But you know what? Every time an athlete's going to have a point, or even a human being, where you either stand up and fight or you shrink down and shy away from the moment. So I think, that's something that athletes really kind of can use, to their advantage.
And when you shy away from a moment in a place like you played, like in Philadelphia, I mean, you might be destroyed forever in terms of that being your vocation. I mean, you might be done because
they'll run athletes out of the league. It's interesting because who I was in Philly at 22 was interesting, because when I came back and played the Phillies, different sport, different age, more mature athlete, I kind of embraced it because it was kind of comical.
Yeah.
I didn't let it bother me, and I'm like, oh, these Philly fans. It's not just Philly fans. It's just fans in general. There's some idiots out there. Excuse my language on a Monday morning.
Gotcha.
It's true. There's idiots, and you just learn to deal with them. And it's interesting because I was just at a different place. So I had a better perspective of how to take it versus when I was 22, I was like, oh, my God, they're not cheering for me, Gary. They're not cheering for me.
My self-esteem, my self-esteem's going down. Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, and I wasn't even playing, Gary.
I know. There you go. Hey,
we weren't very good, though.
I got to ask you this question this morning, a little lighter fare. There's a thing called Tarps Off going on around the country right now, and it has transformed otherwise unremarkable games into the best parties of the summer. And what I'm talking about, these sections of guys, I think it's just guys so far. If it's girls, it will get, a little bit more interesting, but who are taking their shirts off at baseball stadiums. I mean, en masse. And it's called Tarps Off. Sections packed with hundreds of rowdy, chanting, bare-chested fans have suddenly appeared at ballparks from St. Petersburg to Seattle, injecting a jolt of life into America's famously hidebound pastime, baseball. The movement has come to be known as Tarps Off. It has transformed otherwise unremarkable games into the best parties of the summer. Now, we've seen shirtless fans at football games, stuff like that. Haven't seen it too much at baseball. Seen it soccer a little bit, maybe, and sometimes football student sections. Haven't seen it in baseball. What's your take on the Tarps Off movement?
I had never heard of it, but you know what? I might have just saw it in West Virginia for a super regional, perhaps, because I couldn't believe the student body was behind home plate, and there was a lot of them without their shirts.
Yeah.
Credit to them for being fans. Now, the question is, I'd have to say, what kind of beverages have you been taking?
Right.
That's not always a great thing, because usually that's kind of like what gets them courageous enough to take off your shirts and have fun. But I think for spicing up a baseball game is great because the season is so long.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, there's certain sports they do it. It's funny because you compare it to football. Football is its own animal because it's like people want to just let loose after a whole week of work, and some of the craziest fans are probably the most respected
members of the community
Monday through Friday.
Yeah, but then when you go out there, you just lose it. Final thought this morning: what's your take on the World Cup so far? Are you enjoying? Are you watching any of it?
I think it's exciting. I'm from Seattle, okay? So I know when the U.S. team was there, I'm calling everybody back home going, oh, my gosh, because they had the World Cup in the morning or the afternoon for the U.S. team, and then the Mariners and Red Sox were playing that night. I mean, it was crazy. So I think the good news for Canada, Mexico, United States is you get to see the passion from other countries and the fans and all the things that they bring to the World Cup, which is great because sometimes we live in that bubble that we are America, our sports matter, and nobody else does. And I think when you see the World Cup, you have an appreciation for the love of a sport from all different countries, even Ivory Coast. I think where they tied, little tiny small island down has got these draws.
Yeah, all these. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. You got you.
Ivory Coast did well though too. I saw Ivory Coast either I think they won or tied a match the other day. Yeah, so and that's the only thing that bothers me is that, I'm an American and these ties just don't. We don't have ties. We just don't like ties too much. I mean, and also when you're in America, forget this 0-0 stuff. It's nothing. It's 0-0, but 0-0 doesn't quite cut it for me. And I admit to a
little
little
knockout
prejudice.
round, Gary.
I know.
They'll play forever.
I know.
But well, let me ask you this though.
Go ahead.
And it's the same thing. Do you appreciate the penalty kicks, if they get to that point in soccer? Do you think that that's the high drama, or do you think it should be played out kind of like baseball?
Well, I'm of two minds on that. Number one, I used to play soccer until about 10th grade or 9th grade, and I decided to play golf because I sucked at soccer. I was a goalkeeper. And I threw a behind-the-back pass to a fullback off the end line. I thought it was a great play, and my coach did not appreciate it the way I thought he should. And I was on the bench by the time the ball came down from the kick out of the area. But there's part of me in any game where all of a sudden you're playing the game, you have all these rules, and you're playing it, and all of a sudden they say, okay, now we're tired of it. Let's end it with penalty kicks. And you go, like, wait a second. That wasn't a game we just played. That's a different game. So there's part of me that says keep on playing. There's another part of it that says, for the love of God, I can't go any further in this soccer match. My clothes have changed style. Seasons are changing. But so there's that side, and then there's the other side where I really like the end with a penalty kick. Having been a goalkeeper, I know what that's like to stand there and have to have someone come at you, just you and them. And it really is kind of cool. So I've got a little appreciation of both. I might lean just because of the lack of interest I have by about the fifth overtime. I might lean more toward the penalty kicks at the end on that. So that's an exciting way.
Can you imagine the pressure because everybody's at midfield and you've got to walk up as a
I
and strike that. Talk about pressure.
Well,
the goalkeeper I know is a little different because you're not necessarily expected to stop it. I mean, strategically, I'm sure you're at that level. They're doing all their research, but I can only imagine the pressure.
Well, you have to guess. Does the guy kick to the left or to the right normally and all that? And as a goalkeeper, I don't know how many people realize this. You're not allowed to move until that kick is made. So when you guess, you can't guess until that ball is hit, and then you can make your move. You have to stand perfectly still on that end line. It's really kind of crazy. But I'll tell you what.
Let me ask you this. One question for your audience, and you may know this as a goalkeeper.
Go ahead.
Now they strategically come up with a little bit of pause. Some of those guys are really good. What happens if now they deke the goalkeeper, and now all of a sudden you do move because they're coming up to kick it and they don't do it in traditional fashion and hesitate a little bit?
I don't know what happens.
What's the penalty if the keeper moves early?
I don't know. Another one shot at you. So when I was,
I've never seen that called.
I've never seen it either. No. Maybe when you deke it, if you fake it, maybe the goalkeeper moves. Everybody, maybe it washes out. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I've
often said the most gutsy kick ever for a penalty kick is when the guy goes up and he kind of hesitates and he kicks it right where the goalie's standing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the goalie's already moved one way or the other. That takes courage.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, there is no feeling standing there getting point blank by some guy that's going to fire it off at you how many miles an hour. And when I was in high school, we used to have a ball in the bag that we go out and practice with every night called the Rock. And it was aptly named. I don't think there was really air in it. I think it was just concrete. And it was like one of these balls that kind of had a leathery feel on the outside. And whenever this one guy would come out, I remember his name, Dan Fink, he would come out and he would say, come on, we're going to practice. He'd hit this thing, and I didn't wear gloves in those days. I want to tell you what, nothing hurt as badly as that did on the hands back then. That's when I was a boy. We didn't wear gloves. But anyway, so one day, I went and got the bag of balls, hauled it down to the practice area. I took that ball and kicked it as far down the fields of Northeastern as I could kick it, where no one would ever find it again. And he came out and says, "Where's the ball?" I said, "I don't know, man. Somebody must have gotten rid of it." I didn't, and it was never there again, to my knowledge. No one ever claimed it. No one ever found it again. I think Dan was down there hunting down the cornfields for it for a while. Never found it. It was terrible. But there you go. I still have.
Now,
see that vision? See the vision?
The truth of the story on air.
Yeah, I know.
40 years later.
Yeah, and I can just now talk about it. There it is. Mark, thank you so much, my friend. Have a great week. I'll catch you next Monday, all right?
Sounds good. You too.
Talk to you, buddy. Take care. Mark Hendrickson here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We'll take a break. We'll come back. By the way, I do want to remind you, this afternoon at 4 p.m., Thomasville Country Auction having a sale. Estate, furniture, Tiffany-style lamps, S&P collection. That's salt and pepper, by the way. Over 100 sets of salt and pepper shakers. Bird bath, sled, garden tools, wheelchair, metal porch chairs, Santa blow mold, jewelry armoire. They've got pitcher and bowl set, burgundy sofa, table lights, all kinds of great things for you. And you can find them this afternoon at Thomasville Country Auction. Now, if you're looking to have a sale, by the way, just go to ThomasvilleCountryAuction.com and hit auction date, and you will see every item up for bid for June 22nd. But if you're looking to have your own sale, you have a estate sale. You're moving. You're getting out of the area. You're downsizing. Whatever. I don't know what the reason is for you, but you're going to have a sale. Jack and Cheryl Hooks. That's Sales Central. Give them a call today at 717-764-5403. Get them out to your home. Sit down, have a nice conversation with them. They'll answer all your questions. They will. They've been doing that for over 40 years for people. Honestly. Yeah, they'll tell you all the myths that you've heard about and what sells, what doesn't sell. They'll even tell you how to haul the items from your house to their auction house and then get it on the right one sale or multiple sales that best benefit you and your situation. That's right. They basically tailor it to what you need. And if you're selling your real estate, Cheryl could do that for you and save you lots of money. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are you waiting for? Why don't you get out to the sale this afternoon at 4 p.m. at Thomasville Country Auction? It's at Route 30 West at the railroad tracks in Thomasville.
This is the end of the line. Telling me. Did I tell you about the pool here?
For Daniel LaRusso,
Is this the only pool you guys got?
the future seemed far from terrific.
This place is a dump. You should go back to New Jersey.
Hey, I know it's hard, but we're not quitters, are we?
Until he met the right girl.
And I. She's beautiful. I say she's beautiful. I think she's beautiful.
Is that your address?
You got it.
But that only angered the wrong guy.
You know, Country Club at 9:30. Definitely.
You gotta be nuts.
And his troubles really began.
You have to push it. Make it. Hey.
Then, in one man, he found a teacher.
I promise, teach karate.
And a friend.
Fighting, always last answer.
How did you do that?
Don't know. First time, power, whole body. Make a perfect picture.
How do I know if my picture's the right one?
If come from inside you, always right on. Lesson about the balance, not just karate, lesson for whole life. Why train?
So I won't have to fight.
Hey, Karate Kid, let's take a move. Points or no points, you're dead meat.
I don't have much of a cheering section.
You got me?
In the end, it will be in Daniel's hands. In his body. And most of all, in his mind.
Concentrate, focus, power. Remember balance. No mercy.
Columbia Pictures presents The Karate Kid.
Hey, what kind of belt do you have?
Canvas. You like? GC Penny 398.
On this date, 42 years ago, it was 1984, Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita.
Didn't they try to resurrect that with
They did.
the Cobra,
Couple of times.
What is it, Cobra Kai a couple years ago?
Yep.
And they and I think they've done a couple things there. Anyway, don't forget no baseball tonight. Tomorrow night the Revs are going to be in Charleston, West Virginia. 6:15 will be airtime on that. Daryl will start it off, and then the first pitch coming up after that at I think 6:35 or so. But we're looking forward to all that this week. Some great Revs baseball coming up.
National Onion Ring Day.
National Onion Ring Day.
And National
Kissing Day.
Chocolate Eclair Day.
Yeah. All worthy of mentioning again. Great to have Mark back. Thanks again to Martin. Sure. Thanks to all of you for tuning in this morning here on the Gary Sutton Show. Hope we've had a little fun with you today, giving you some information, and we'll do the same tomorrow. If you're talking about it on Main Street, York, in York County, we're talking about it right here. It is the voice of York County. It is the Gary Sutton Show right here on 98.9 FM and 1350 AM WOYK. Have a great Monday, everyone. It is 9 o'clock.